This episode is sponsored by JDAQA Software Testing, your scalable solution for manual, automated, security, and performance testing. Check us out at jdaqa.com. And with that, let's get on with the show.
This is The First Customer, hosted by Jay Agner.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the First Customer Podcast. My name is Jay Agner. Today, I am lucky enough to be joined by Tim Swindle. He's the co-founder of PaddleSmash, another Shark Tank episode. A really cool guy, really cool founder. PaddleSmash looks like something I should have in the backyard of my in-laws' house. Tim, how are you, man?
I'm good, Jay. Thanks for having me.
How hot is it in Nashville? Is it very hot?
It's hot. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're looking at like 90 plus this week, so a little too hot for my liking.
Yeah, it's a little crisp out there right now. I think it's 93 out right now. It feels like a
Oof.
1,000,000% humidity. So where did you grow up? And did that have any impact on you being an entrepreneur?
Grew up in Chicago area. My dad was an entrepreneur as well, so I think I just kind of saw how he operated, and I think deep down wanted to be an entrepreneur my whole life. My first foray into entrepreneurship was actually as a golf professional. I was like 12 years old and had no business teaching people golf, but I set up a little shop when I was 12 at our local club and taught younger kids how to play golf. And from then on, I think I knew I wanted to be my own boss.
That is fantastic. Do you still play golf now?
I do. I play a lot of golf. Yeah, that
I
is
love
my passion when I'm not building PaddleSmash.
or not building PaddleSmash. Love it. So tell me the kind of genesis. Was this the first company and product you ever started? Was there some other stuff after being a golf pro at 12, or was this kind of your first big one?
Yeah, well, once I realized that the golf professional was not for my future, I went to school at University of Illinois, got into a couple different things after school, but I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I had the opportunity to team up with some guys that I went to college with who had just started a software company. So I joined up with them and we ended up building this software company called Point Drive. And while doing that, so that was kind of typical software, it was venture backed, burning a ton of capital, running a big team, and very stressful. And then as kind of a passion project, I decided to launch a board game that's kind of akin to Cards Against Humanity. It was called Utter Nonsense, and did that as like a nights and weekends project. And it ended up kind of taking off. And so I was like, well, that's very fun. It was bootstrapped and basically could run it from wherever and didn't have to run a big team or anything like that. So I kind of fell in love with the toy and game industry. I ended up selling the software company to LinkedIn. So that ultimately worked out, and then built up the board game business and sold that to a big PE-backed toy and game company in 2018.
First customers come in like all sorts of sizes and flavors and shapes. Tell me about selling this game company. Did you learn some things from selling the software company that kind of transferred to selling the game company, or was this a completely different experience?
It was a completely different experience. Yeah. So for the software company, we had LinkedIn as a client. They used our software and then they just approached us. They wanted to add it on to their Sales Navigator product, and that we didn't run like a process or anything. So, but that was very different. The board game company, I did, do a lot of outreach. I didn't hire a bank. I wasn't big enough to do that, but I did have a lot of contacts within the industry and knew who the potential players were that would be interested in acquiring my company. And so set up a few meetings, and fortunately there was one that was pretty hot for it and ended up closing with them.
Hmm. Now, did you have to stay on with them, or did they just buy it as a product and you were kind of on your way?
Yeah, they just bought it as a product and tucked it into their portfolio. I had the opportunity to stay on, but that wasn't the kind of deal I was looking for. So they were open to kind of what I wanted, but my preference was to sell them the product. They know how to run toys and games better than I do. So it was just, here you go, plug it into your ecosystem, and then I'll be off on my way.
And does that game still exist today? Is it still
It
out there on
does.
shelves?
Yeah, I don't keep very close tabs on it, but I still see it out there every once in a while. I'll come across it. So it's cool to see that my first kind of invention, if you will, is still alive and well.
I love that very much. I went to school to make video games, slightly different, but like a lot of time spent, in game theory stuff, talking about board games and card games, and
Yeah.
that's very cool, man. I love it, and I'll definitely check that out. We're a big board game family. We actually have one of those game tables. It's like,
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's the greatest invention ever. I mean, you never lose the pieces. There's a million games on it. You can play anything with a bunch of kids at the same time. It's a lot of fun. So yeah,
sure.
we're big board gamers here. All right, so let's go to Paddle Smash. Are we there yet? Did we get to that point in your career? Is that where you
Yeah.
went after you've sold two companies?
Yeah, so kind of flailed around for a little while, did some traveling, worked on a couple minor things that didn't really go anywhere. And the backstory of Paddle Smash is my business partner Scott Brown. He was a retailer, so he owned a series of retail shops, and he was the first person to pick up my original board game. So that's how we met, through a business relationship, and just kind of hit it off. He was based in Chicago, and so was I. And, so we were working together, but at the same time, we just kind of respected each other and became friends. Both of us ended up selling our companies, and we'd always wanted to kind of do something together. And so he's a really big pickleball player. And we just saw the space blowing up within pickleball. And we're like, what could we do that's tangential to pickleball, but not necessarily just being another paddle or apparel, or I don't know, it just seems
Mhm.
like there's kind of very few things you can actually do within that space. And about 2 weeks after we had had this brainstorming session, we were actually introduced to this gentleman, Joe Bingham, who is a father of, how many kids do you have? You have 6 kids. I was trying to
Right.
say, I think he has 7. So I think he's got you beat. 6 of them are boys, though. And is like a structural engineer by trade, and he's kind of a tinkerer. He's got, machines in his garage, and is very good with his hands. And he created a prototype of what is now Paddle Smash.
Mm.
So we were introduced to him through kind of a family friend of Scott's, and we saw it, and we are like, this is exactly what we're looking for. And just to give an idea of what the product is, it's basically a cross between pickleball and spike ball. So it's
Mhm.
taking those two concepts and marrying them together and making it so that you can kind of get that pickleball flavor right in your backyard. It's portable, take it to the beach, camping, things like that. So yeah, that's kind of the origin story of Battle Smash.
Yeah, I will be purchasing one of these for sure. It looks right up our alley with all these children we have. So, I mean, you had some experience in the physical, world, I guess, with the card game and stuff. I mean, how did you go from like we have this prototype thing and some guy who owns a retail shop to like making it a brand and real product that you're manufacturing and all this sort of like that seems like a lot of hurdles to cross. How long did that process take? And like what kind of walk me through like, okay, now we have this prototype of this really cool thing we think is gonna be a hit to, landing on Shark Tank and having a final product to sell to everybody.
Yeah, so the prototype that we received, or that he had built, was this like 60-pound hulking piece of plastic, not anything that we could take to market. So we did have to go back to the drawing board to take kind of the concept, but make it so that it was lightweight, affordable, you know, just all the things that you need to be able to
Mhm.
do to work and sell to retailers, et cetera. So we basically spent a year in R&D. We hired a design firm out of Bozeman, Montana, that it's like kind of a specialty shop that focuses on this niche space. And so we worked with them for about a year, created a series of prototypes, finally figured it out and made it so that, it was, everything kind of folds up really nicely. It weighs about 16 pounds. All the components fit inside of it. So you can kind of pick it up like a suitcase and carry it wherever. And so with that, then we went to manufacturing. We've got a great manufacturer based in China. We did just kind of, because we have experience in the space, we knew the different ones that were capable of handling this type of project.
Mhm.
And so they were game for it, no pun intended. And so probably, another 3 months or so after that, let's say, so from first like meeting Joe, deciding whether or not we wanted to move forward, gave us some time to play test it, talk to some people, see if this was a product we really wanted to move forward with, getting him under contract so that he's got a royalty agreement, and then actually going to market, probably about a year and a half.
Mm, got it. And then so you have a working product. And how many did you like have at that point? Like how many units did you have to buy to kind of start this? Were you sitting on thousands of paddle smash, you know,
Yeah,
units or
We ordered, I want to say probably 2 or 3,000 to start, enough to where we were coming out at the end of 2022. So we launched in October of 2022 and we'd missed kind of the core season, which is spring, summer for an outdoor
Mhm.
game. But obviously the holidays are a big time period. And so,
Right.
we were able to catch the holidays season for 2022 and we sold out. So we had no idea what the demand would be. We're a little bit of a higher price point, and it was a nice, just okay, maybe there's something here.
And where do you go from there? I mean, it seems like an interesting kind of inflection point where you could go like, okay, it did well, but we don't really know. I mean, do you order a million more? How do you kind of figure out how do you figure out what's the next step
The
there?
demand, yeah, I'll say I wish there it was probably it's probably more of an art than a science at that stage, just because you still have very little data to go off of. We just kept ordering as I and we'd sell through them, and we did some things with our manufacturer that we like pre-ordered some of the core components so that we could lower our lead times. So that way we were at least ready should we kind of sell out or something happens. We've gone viral on social media a couple times and those things are unexpected. And so we've been able to be pretty nimble and get more units made as needed. And I'd say it's probably the one thing we're most impressed, but not like by any means of our own doing. It's just we keep on being like, boy, did we thread that needle with our inventory.
Yeah, it's like a very accidental success sometimes. Like
Yeah,
hit it
like
right on the
we want
mark.
to get more scientific about it, but it just seems like, all right, units are moving pretty good. We should order more.
Right, right. So, I mean, and who was your first customer? Was it friends and family? Was it just people online? Like, who did you really start selling these things to? Was it on your own website or Amazon? How did you start doing that?
Yeah. So I know I can remember very well who our first customer was. So right when we launched the website, we had done no advertising. We literally just turned it on and we created a Instagram feed and we just started posting some stuff on there and there and on Facebook. And we got an order from a gentleman in Atlanta, Georgia. And it's one of those like, oh shit.
Right,
Like,
right,
what just happened? We got a
right,
customer and we're jumping
right.
around. But it's like the first thing you're asking yourself is like, who is he and how did he find us? Turns out that he did come across it in his feed somehow. And he's a real estate developer and there's a concept that's called chicken and pickle that's bigger than he's building kind of like a competitor to that in his
Hmm.
area. And so it's basically like, think of it as what the golf,
Oh, Top Golf?
yeah, it's like Top
Yeah.
Golf for pickleball. It's like you have
Okay.
drinks, food, and basically play pickleball. But they have like kind of like a cornhole section and other outdoor games.
Mm,
And he was like, "This would be perfect to put in my locations." So he bought a couple of them, and that was our first customer.
I love that. I love that. And how do you kind of react when you get that? Do you literally just go and package it up and ship it? Did you ask him how he came across you guys? Like how did you use any information you got from him? How did you get that information? Did you ask him directly?
Yeah, I think he maybe had put his phone number in his order, and I called him. I called him the second he placed the order.
That's great.
Introduced myself and wanted to understand who he was, why did he buy it, and I did that with almost every order initially that we got, just trying to learn who is our customer, what is it about this product that's ticking for them, and using that information to go find more of them, obviously, as we started to ramp up our marketing.
How many have you sold to date?
Last year, we sold through close to 15,000, and then this year we'll double that.
Wow. That's a lot of pickle smash, man. Or paddle smash. How
That's a
did
lot.
you I guess did you not want to go with pickle in the name because it was too close to pickleball?
Yeah, part of it is it's just funny coming up with names these days is a lot of like what's available via the URL
True.
and just available from a trademark perspective.
Right.
So you come up with all these ideas and then you do a lot of Google searching and then you kind of realize, well, these ones aren't available because we can't get the domain or we can't get it because
Right.
there's our trademark. And so it was just a series of elimination and ended up on Paddle Smash, but
I
we're
love
happy.
it. No, I love it. That's a great name. All right, so tell me about Shark Tank. How did you get on? I've heard it's a very long process to get on there. What was your experience with the show?
So this was my second time actually being on. So it was not my first go at Shark Tank. First time I went on with the product that I did was my 10-year-old niece. It was when fidget spinners were really popular. We created kind of like a candy fidget spinner maker. So you could make your own fidget spinner out of candy. And long story short is we went on, got a deal, but they backed out.
Mhm.
And that happens a lot. And so I had kind of like a sour taste in my mouth, to be honest with you. I didn't know if Shark Tank was ever something I would want to do again. And Scott and I went out to a trade show in New Jersey for camps. So we just had a booth and we wore these kind of silly outfits, these like 70s tennis style retro outfit. And we just got a lot of people thought we were funny and kept on being like, you guys are great. You got to go on Shark Tank. And I was through Shark Tank.
Right.
And the last day of that show, we were actually contacted by a producer. Producer had no idea that I'd been on it previously. He just thinks
Mhm.
came across the product and whatever, decided to reach out and see if we'd be interested in applying. So that was March of 2023. So, launched October 2022. Fast forward about 6 months, we're at this trade show, get the email from Shark Tank, asked us to apply. That process was about 3 months. So long
Mhm.
as obviously I said yes. And we decided to move forward with it. Just, swallowed my pride and ego and just said, this is something that'd be good for us and for the business.
Right.
And ended up getting the call to go out there in June of 2023. So it was about a 3 month, just kind of like interview process. You do a lot of paperwork, signing your last, firstborn away. And then we aired in October of 2023. So about, 3 or 4 months after we shot the episode, we aired, basically end of October of last year.
Got it. And you guys got a deal, right? Did that
We did a deal with Mark and Robert
Okay.
and I'll share that we did not follow through with it afterwards.
Okay. All
Uh,
right.
just kind of for a number of reasons that didn't make sense. Very happy with the show and how everything turned out, but it just wasn't a good fit. So for those of you that don't know, when you make the deal on air, it's like a handshake. It's not legally binding. And so as I learned the first time around, there's an opportunity for either side to exit if they don't like it. And in this case, just wasn't the right fit for us and decided to not go forward with the deal.
You were just waiting for your opportunity to tell them to take a hike. Yeah.
Yeah. Revenge is a dish best served cold.
Not this time, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mark. Beat it.
Yeah, sorry, pal. Well, very cool, man. Well, so, and who is your target customer? Like, how have you, and how much work have you done to, the old ICP definition of like your ideal customer profile? Do like you guys know who that person is and who you're selling at?
hmm We have a few, but the main one I'd say is a mom with teenage college aged kids.
Hmm.
Yeah. Moms typically are the ones with the wallet that have the
Yep.
shared wallet in the household. They do most of the gift buying. And so getting on their radar to, keep their kids busy and off of tablets and, iPads and TV and things like that. And so, getting a game for their kids to play and something that they can all play together too. That's one of our selling, one of the things we're trying to sell is that this is not just for your kids. It's something that the whole family can play together.
Hmm.
So
That makes sense to go after the moms. They are the gift givers,
Mhm.
typically, especially in my house. Um, and so what's next? What's next for Paddle Smash? Like, is there any big milestones coming up? Are you guys kind of pushing for anything? Is there any changes to the secret sauce that you guys are, the unit itself? And have you had to change that as you've gone, or has it just been the same since you started manufacturing it a couple of years ago?
Minor tweaks. Yeah, I mean, as get the entrepreneur, the co-founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman, he says like, if you're not embarrassed by your first, version of your product, you ship too late. And so we did just want to like get it out there. And yeah, there's been, I mean, nothing major, but I would just say there's some things we learned with gameplay that we just made it more durable, better experience for the customer. So minor tweaks here and there. Feel very good about, where we're at currently. And as far as, what's next, it's just continuing to grow it. We have gone viral several times. We've got, I don't know, probably something like 50 million views across Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And that's created a lot of international buzz. So that wasn't
Mhm.
a market that we were going after, but
Hmm.
because of the reach of social media, it's generated a ton of international buzz for us. And so we are expanding, all throughout Europe, South America, Middle East, Australia, New Zealand. So I'd say that's a big focus for this year. But at the end of the day, the US will still be the majority of our market, even with all the international expansion. So it's getting into schools. That's another big one. Having schools buy it, they play at a gym class, the kids like it, they go hopefully have their parents buy it for them as a gift, that type of thing. So just
Very
keep
cool, man.
going.
Paddle Smash Worldwide. You're gonna
There we go.
take it over. Well, that's an awesome story, man. I really, there's a lot to kind of chew on there. And, I think it's just, I love the iterations and then just kind of creating this thing and a prototype and going out there and selling it and doing your thing. And now, like I said, I looked at it on Amazon, which I'm sure I will, or my wife will be purchasing at some point for the summertime. So I love the story and I appreciate you being on. I have one final question for you, non-business, non-paddle smash related. If you could do anything on earth and you knew you wouldn't fail, what would it be?
Be a professional golfer.
That's the first I've gotten professional NBA player, maybe NFL, but professional golfer. That's a great one. I love that. Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
guess is it
I
how
really
often,
love golf.
how
Yeah.
often do you golf?
Not as much as I would like. I have 2 young kids, so that's a little hard to get away for 8 hours a day, at a time, but
Yeah,
no,
that's
once or twice a week.
okay. That's still good, man. For
Yeah,
two
it's
young kids, yeah, you got a trooper of a wife then. So maybe you didn't get out that often. If people want to find more about Paddle Smash or about you, about anything they heard today, how do they do that?
Yes, I mean, paddlesmash.com, or I'm on LinkedIn, Tim Swindle. Happy to answer any questions you might have if anybody wanted to hit me up.
Beautiful, and I'm sure they will. Well, Tim, I love it, man. We're checking it out and wish you the best of luck. And Paddle Smash Worldwide. Take it over, buddy. Thanks for being on. See you, man.
Thank you, Jay.
See you.